Has India taken a U-turn on the Israel-Palestine issue? Why Israel needs India's help more than ever? How Qatar is root of all evil when it comes to terrorist funding all around the world? The next Maldivian president has promised that he will send back the Indian army from Mali as soon as he gets into office. Welcome, welcome. This is the Nikhil Chaudhari show. So what do I mean when I say has India taken a U-turn on this conflict? So basically yesterday Prime Minister Modi spoke to the Palestinian Authority leader Mohammed Abbas, and he has assured him that India will provide aid to Gaza. Now you might think, okay, why is that a problem? It's a humanitarian aid. Of course, in its nature it's supposed to be good. It's supposed to help the people of Gaza. The problem with this is that all the aid that goes to Gaza eventually ends up in the hands of Hamas. And what does Hamas do? They don't use it to help the citizens. They don't use it to help the people who are in bad shape. What they do is they use that money, they buy weapons, they create more terror, and all the aid never gets to the actual citizens who need it. And I'm pretty sure that Prime Minister Modi and the Indian government knows this. The problem with this is that it's the optics game, and we have to show that we care about the humanitarian crisis and everything, and we do care, but we also know that this aid is actually not going to help them. But we have to do it because it's an optics game. So the example I just gave you actually leads to a broader point I want to make, which is that you should pick your friends wisely, but you should pick your enemies more wisely. Speaking of which, let me take you back to 1971 when there was a war going on between India and our noisy neighbors, Pakistan. It was also known as the Kargil War. Now in that war, India were not losing, but we were on the brink of losing the war, because Pakistan was heavily supported by Chinese as well as the Americans in somewhat capacity. No one was helping us, nor even the Russians, who were always been our friend, but they were not even supporting us. But then suddenly Israel out of nowhere decided to help us. They provided us ammunition, all the defense capabilities we needed to defeat the Pakistan and send them back home. Now you might think, why is that a big deal? Nations always end up helping other nations who are in trouble. The thing with Israel is that we never really recognized Israel since its creation. Till that moment, we had no diplomatic ties with them, and even then they decided to help us, and because of them, we won the war. So ever since then, we developed diplomatic ties with them, and now we are in very good condition with them. We have a good relationship with them. Speaking of the current day, no one imports more Israeli arms than India, and Israel is our second biggest defense supplier after Russia. Now let's talk about Qatar's role in this conflict. Usually Qatar has a policy of putting out fires, then setting them off, and then taking credit in between for peacemaking. Qatar, if you know anything about Middle Eastern geopolitics, you will know that Qatar is actually very notorious. No one likes them, still everyone tries to get along with them. Why is that? They usually end up hosting terrorist groups like Hamas, Taliban. They even have accusations of supporting and funding Al-Qaeda when it was at its peak. But then why do they have so much power? They don't get along with any of the Arab nations. If you actually think about it, they don't get along with the big guys like Saudis or Iran or anyone. They just do their own thing. And they were able to do their own thing because they have massive support from United States. Now why is that? In the 70s, when United States were looking for a Middle Eastern partner, they were rejected by Iran, obviously, as well as Saudi Arabians. So they actually came to Qatar. And ever since then, they have a stronghold. Every time Qatar needs something, United States back them, and in return, Qatar basically do whatever United States wants them to do. And US policy is, whenever they don't want to get their hands dirty, they use Qatar to do their bidding. The thing with this is that whenever you give someone this much amount of power, you always have to be careful that they are going to bite the hand which is feeding them, which can happen to United States if they don't keep Qatar in check. Now let's move on from the Israel-Palestinian conflict and let's focus on something closer to home which affects us directly. Let's talk about Maldives and their new president or president-elect Mohammed Muizzu. Mohammed Muizzu recently did an interview with Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera, again a Qatari-backed news organization. He said, and I quote, that moving Indian soldiers out of the Indian military base in Maldives, which is the capital of Maldives, is his topmost priority when it comes to office on November 17th. Now, Mohammed Muizzu, the new president-elect of Maldives, actually ran on anti-India slogans. He was backed by Chinese heavily. He was financed by them as well, and that's why he has won in Maldives. Now, how does that affect us? China already has a base in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and after they will throw our soldiers out, China will have a base in Maldives as well. So China will cover us from both sides. And that is addition to all the Belt and Road activities China is doing around us. This is another reminder for us to step up our game and neutralize China. Alright guys, we'll see you on Monday. Take care.